Got to get it, Papa. Oh, getting all buckled in and ready to go on a new adventure. Had some bumps at the beginning of the year, but I think we might be trying to overcome the bumps. So we don't have laps of content. Anyway, technical difficulties, weather-related difficulties, whatever I can blame it on, yeah, I'll blame it on. But right now, we got a new adventure we're going on, and so we're gonna see what happens. Here I am, ready to go. What the hell is on your head? It's for 2022. I got my new look. I'm a hipster. You're something, don't know. We gonna stop at any Walmarts? I hope not. Anyway, let's get going. Okay, ready and to roll. What are you yelling for? What? Why do you keep yelling? I can't hear you. My new look is covering my ears. Oh God, this is gonna be a really long trip, and it's not really that far. I'll tell you what, Pappy, let me help you adjust your hat. This'll help. All right, thanks. Here, let me help you. See, you gotta... What the hell going on? I can't see. I can't see. My stogie's gonna burn it. Oh, God. It's not even lit. Look at that. That's the big drawbridge in Delcombe, Louisiana, where the shrimp fleet comes in and they have the shrimp festival with shrimps. And look, there's some shrimp boats down there, yeah. If you can't see them, that's too bad. Okay, now that Pappy's asleep, possibly permanently. No, we're continuing down the road. We are on US Highway 90, which is one of the old roads that goes coast to coast. Highway 90, well, Highway 90 doesn't completely go coast to coast. It goes all the way from Florida, all the way to somewhere in New Mexico or Arizona, something like that, West Texas. It changes numbers. I think it becomes Highway 80 or something like that. I don't know why. But anyway, Highway 90, a lot of people don't realize this, it can be a nice alternative if you're going to New Orleans. Let's see, Interstate 10 is the new road. That's the new one that goes from coast to coast pretty much. You end up in San Diego or something like that. And you get to Louisiana and Interstate 10 goes through the swampy swamp and all that stuff and the bridges and everything. You get to Baton Rouge and it kind of turns toward the south roughly to where you go to New Orleans. And then it goes along the coast. It comes out of New Orleans and goes along the coast through Mississippi and Alabama and into Florida. Well, traffic on Interstate 10 can be horrible. This is just a fact. And there's construction in different places and this, that, and the other. And if you have to travel it often enough, it gets really old. So, as an alternative, I personally like to go on Highway 90. And this is Highway 90 right here. Look at that. Oh, it's an overpass. We're passing over another road. But it's gradually been improved and that type of thing from a 2-lane highway to now it's looks almost like an interstate, except there's a lot of exits and crossings and you go through towns and stuff. which some people complain, yeah, I don't want to go that way because you have to go through a town and there might be a light and you have to stop and It's like, okay, we'll go on the interstate and you can get stuck in traffic, heavy traffic, and get stalled by a wreck or something and have to wait for hours while you sit on the incredible interstate. So anyway, Highway 90 is an alternative to get down to New Orleans. It goes from Lafayette. It's kind of, this part of it starts in Lafayette and you go all the way down to New Orleans. Now it gets confusing in Lafayette because if you go north from it, this is really going to really confuse everybody. If you go north from it, it turns into Interstate 49. Somewhere, and magically in Lafayette, it becomes Highway 90. Bing! It's like magic. Bing! And then it's in Lafayette, it's also known as the Evangeline Thruway. Keeping up with me? So eventually, this part of Highway 90, which is getting a little sprinkled, but look at that. See, this part of Highway 90 looks kind of like an interstate because one day, and I'm not going to hold my breath, but one day it's going to turn into the rest of Interstate 49. And they'll get rid of a lot of exits and all the crossovers and all that stuff, and it'll become a true interstate one day. But right now it's just Highway 90 and it's okay to drive on. It can get busy at times and it's odd traffic. You get sugarcane trucks hauling sugarcane and stuff like that along here, and it's kind of an adventure all in itself. But it's not all built up like you see along interstates and things like that, so it gives you a little more open road sort of vibe, if you can follow my lingo. But I mean, you know, right here it's like it's just fields and stuff, and look up ahead, there's actually it's a little railroad crossing, because there's I forget what it is that crosses right here, but I don't think I've ever seen a train right here. But it is a railroad crossing, so you use caution. You bounce around a little bit. Whee! And look, there's a truck with hay bales on it, and look out here, it's just the wide open spaces. And it's a lot more relaxing than the interstate, where it can be practically bumper to bumper, 18-wheelers surrounding you, and you have you just have to match their speed and everything, or get crushed or something. So anyway, I thought that's part of my route today, and on our journey. And I thought I'd point that out because some traveling people might not realize that and might want to try it out. So anyway, hang on, and we'll see what happens next. Yeah, he's a heavy sleeper. And look out behind those trees there, there's something interesting. That's an old railroad bridge. Who died? That's an oldie, but it's still used. It's still in good enough shape to use. Oh, and look that. It's a jet on a pole. Actually, it's on a little short pole up in the front, see? But, and the tires are not quite on the ground. They're on some little short poles too. So, I'll add that to my jets on a pole collection. But let's see a little information about that. There we go. It was floated down here on a barge. They flew it to Memphis, put it on a barge, and floated it down here. Man, You never know. And that's another landmark. It's got some declarations on the other side, but see them cars passing by going fast? There's a truck. That's Highway 90. And it's passing right in front of this. The Wedell-Williams Aviation and Cypress Sawmill Museum. So we're gonna go visit and see what's what inside there. So get ready. And Pappy's in the car sleeping. That worked out great. Now this museum is actually part of the Louisiana State Museum system or collection of museums around the state, and therefore it is a free entry type thing, but you can make donations that are always welcome and helpful to keep things like this open. In the middle part of the building here is an art gallery, and they have different exhibits that rotate through. And currently they have an exhibit about John James Audubon, who, if you aren't familiar with him, he was around Louisiana in the South way back in the 1800s and did all these incredible illustrations and paintings of wildlife, especially birds. And a lot of them were reproduced in different big books that are worth tons of money now. If you happen to have one, you know, sitting on your bookshelf, you might want to take better care of it. But they've had all kinds of different exhibits in here. And years ago, there was an exhibit in this very room about the original Tarzan movie, which I believe was a silent film. I could be wrong, but I think it was a silent film. And it was filmed near Morgan City, which is about 7 miles down the road. And it's crazy. It was this huge deal. Back in the 20s, I believe, is when it was filmed. I'll see if I can put a link down in the bottom, and so you can look that up and see that Tarzan movie. But they had an exhibit in here about it, and it had posters and different news stories and things like that. That was really cool. But yeah, right now it's the Audubon exhibit, which is cool. Some of you think, oh, it's the plant. No, there's a little bird on there. It's a blue-green warbler. It used to be my nickname, the Warbler, with my cool singing abilities. I won't say what they call Pappy. I'd get bumped off the whole thing. But anyway, that's a little added extra available in the museum here. Now here's something you don't see every day. Genuine wooden cypress crowns and a scepter from royalty from the Patterson Cypress Sawmill Festival. But that's where we're going right now. And look at that. They even got an airplane in here. I don't remember having an airplane before. But some people might wonder, it's like, okay, why is it an aviation museum and a sawmill cypress museum? And the answer lies with Mr. Harry Williams, who is heavily involved in the aviation part of it. But before all that happened with airplanes, he was involved in this kind of stuff with sawmills. And the Williams family had a ton of good swampland. You always hear the joke about, oh yeah, I'll show you some swampland. Well, they actually owned a lot of swampland And it happened to be filled with gigantic cypress trees. And they started a sawmill, and they had like the largest, I think there was the largest cypress producer in the world back in the day, a little bit over 100 years ago. And they would ship cypress all over the world. It was unbelievable. And then that started playing out because, I mean, it takes a long time for those trees to grow. And then they found out, hey, wait, there's oil on this property. And it's like, drat the luck. We go from billions of dollars in cypress to billions of dollars in oil and gas. And so the fun never ended. But this is pretty interesting about just sawmills in general from back in the day and the technology involved. And look that. You see that big wheel ting? But you see what's running on it? That's a big old saw blade, yeah. You can cut some big logs with that. Or you could cut your hand off or something if you weren't careful. Now look at these, the big saw blades. You remember they would on the old movies, they would tie people to the sawmill, and they'd have the big blade turning to come get them. And then Dudley Do-Right would pop in and, you know, shut it off or pop the belt or something so it would stop running. Yeah, Dudley Do-Right times. This is just so you can sharpen the blades. You see that? You bring your big band blade and it go all around, and you'd use this to sharpen the teeth on it, so you can cut that. It smells oily in here because of all the oil and stuff on the machines. There's some cool old toolboxes. A toolbox with a place for everything. And look that. That's what you would have seen out in the swamp when they were moving those logs. So you see what they had is they had these things with these big pointed teeth on it. And they had some chains that went around there and a wheel. And they had these rails on here so it could slide good. And the frame was made out of some other pieces of wood. And they would get that log up on there some kind of way, and they would have to slide it, and they would pull it across. And that's how they would transport it. And they'd have to slide all this stuff. They would have like oxen and mules and stuff like that that would slide all these things all over the place. Yeah, see? A log slide. I even knew what it was. And then they'd end up in the water and they'd float them down to where the mills were, where they could cut that and finish that. So you could buy that and build with that.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yep, that's a big old hollow cypress log. Look at that. And you could live in that if you wanted to. But you probably wouldn't want to. Oh, and I see something else that's cool. I bet y'all didn't know about logging. Because see, when they'd be dragging them big trees through, like that, a big old tree log that they cut down, it would get stuck on things. It'd get caught on other trees or in the mud or whatever. So hey, I got an idea. We're gonna make them some cone heads out of some iron, and we'll put that on the end of that, and when we slide it around, it'll slide easier. And see, there's some guys proving my hypothesis. They got the cone head on top of the log over there, and they slide that. But that's some some big pieces of iron riveted together. See the rivets on there? It's like the Tin Man on the Wizard of Oz. And then if you were bad, they'd put your head in there and they'd pick you up by the ears. Here, now you talking. A chainsaw. Look at that. And you crank start that, you pull that rope, and away you go. You're cutting for hours with about, I don't know how much this weighs. But it's got a handle on the other end for your partner to help you with. He can hang on to that, and you run the business in with the motor, and y'all good to go. Look, there's another one. 2-person chainsaw. Here's a cool tractor. See, they could run stuff off of belts. They'd put a belt on there and it would come way out and then go back and back around there. So they could run belts off of it to power things, or they could use it to drag logs around, because that's always fun to drag some logs. And look where you get to ride. This the lap of luxury, like they say. People think they have it hard now. And look, they got some handles. You can pull that and push that, and then you got a crank up there on the steering wheel so you can turn that. And then you reach down over here and you push that there with your foot, and you reach around and you pull that and you punch that, and you stay away from that, and then you pull that right here again. See? And that's how it works. And you keep your hands away from all that stuff right there, if you like your fingers. And that's how that works. And they were traveling around in the swamp, so they would have boats and pirogues. Let's see which one of these is called a pirogue. That's a pulling skiff. This is a bateau, but see, it's got an engine in it. So that's for the lazy guys that don't like to paddle. Let me see what's over here. Dugout. Oh, a dugout canoe. Ah, dugout pirogue. See, that's pirogue. Say it with me. Pirogue. Say it again. Pirogue. Okay, that's enough. But these are dugouts. These are actually one piece of wood. These entire things are one piece of wood, except where they added some trim and special pieces. But look at this one. One piece of wood. They made them a little place to sit on and a paddle so they could paddle that or hit you on the head with that. And that one's got a passe-partout in it. You know, a passe-partout is a handsaw. A big handsaw, but it's got a handle over there and a handle over there. So 2 people would use that. It's a passe-partout. And I wasn't even paying attention to this wagon. They could drag all kinds of junk around on this. Wait, let's see. It's a truss-wheeled wagon from Chicago. I brought that all the way from Chicago to stick it in the swamp. But look at what's cool about it. It's like a half track. It's got these metal tracks on the back of it, so it doesn't get bogged in the mud. If you get that stuck in the mud, you're gonna be there a while. I'll tell you what. And look, here's one of them grinding wheels, like for your toenails. They fixed that. See, and you have to watch out for the sparks. But That's a pretty good piece of machinery there. With a half-track wagon. Now you can say you saw one. Thank you very much. There was a little information about the little monster, and there's the actual little monster. It's right hanging over your head right when you walk in. It is pretty little for a plane. That was something to see. And is it cool mural, air race mural back there. Check back soon for more looked at the Wedell-Williams Aviation and Cypress Sawmill Museum.